Hi everybody, it's Jeff. This will be part 3 of the Eduard USS Arizona in 1/350th scale. Um, this is going to be a little bit short, I'm afraid. It's really hot here today, and in order to do this, I have to shut the AC off because it's just too loud. Okay, so I may film a little bit and then run the AC and then film a little bit. But anyway, we'll get to it. So let's go down to the bench and I'll show you what I've been up to and we'll see if we can't get some stuff done today. Okay, be right back. We got the decks. They came in the mail a few days ago. And surprisingly, for being just a really inexpensive deck, I got off eBay. It fits really well. The only issues I really see is around the bollards. It's just a little bit tight, but I'm going to sand those off and then I'll put the new ones, where the holes in the deck are. So that shouldn't be a big problem there. But everything else fits really, really well. Um, I have no idea. I got this off eBay. This is the name of the company. So I just it was kind of hard to come by a deck. I did a little bit of looking on eBay and I come up with something. I thought, okay, it was like $15 or $18, so I went ahead and grabbed it. So it also comes with some little pieces for the boats, and it came with two uh, chains. So I think for the price I paid, probably a pretty good deal. And it is wood. The sheet is a real thin veneer, and it is self-adhesive. So we'll see how that all goes. Um, I've been working on the guns, the turrets. I've got 3 of the 4 finished. This one here I don't have finished yet. I've just got some blue tack holding the barrels in. Let me show you real quick. This will be, I'll put a picture up here of what the turrets look like from the kit. Okay. Really, really simple, really, really plain. I just have some blue tack holding it all together. And these are the turrets from the kit, and I'll put a picture of that up too. Okay, with all the PE and ladders and everything on it. I did take some milliput and I made up some blast bags. They're okay. They're a little rough. I might take some sandpaper and just kind of knock the surface down just a tiny little bit, to even it out. But I'm happy with it, and they look a lot better than no blast bags. So let's set this other stuff aside. This will be what we'll work on right now. So I'm going to very, very gently put these in a box to save them. And they won't come out again probably until we start doing some painting. So those are safely stored away, and we'll set this aside. Okay, get that off of there. Here's all the pieces that still have to go on this. So we've got some little brass parts for the range finders, and I've already pre-bent these. Here's a piece that goes at the front. Okay. Here's a couple of pieces that go on the side of the turret underneath the range finders. I really don't know for sure just what it is they do. And there's a little ladder. Here's a couple of little rails. Those are really, I know you guys can't even see them, but they're really a trick to put on. And here's some little brass parts that go around the holes in the front, around the barrels. There's the brass barrels. This just keeps everything together, and there's a little detail piece for the top of the turret. So I'll put more pictures of this stuff up as we go along. So first thing we need to do, or first thing I did, I don't know if I did this correct or not, but first thing I did was get out my little vise. Okay. What we've got to do is we've got to remove the barrels off of this, and we've got to add these, and they are slightly longer than the kit barrels, which I imagine the aftermarket barrels are probably more accurate. So anyway, what I did, I got my little vise. This is from my Shoreline equipment, and I put everything in. I know you can't see with my fingers. I put this in the vise, and I tried really, really hard to get it in there. Yep, let's see here. Back this up. This has got kind of a weird little mechanism in it to where it connects. So put those in there, and it took me just a second to get lined up exactly the way I want it. I want the axis where the barrels pivot to be parallel with the jaws. So I want to come up just a little bit. Come up just a tiny bit more. I know I might cut some of this out. I don't know if you guys can even see what I'm doing. Okay, that looks really good. We'll tighten that down a bit. So what I've got here, I've got all three of the barrels held in the exact same place. They're all, the axis that they pivot through is parallel with this. So when I come through and I cut all these off, I need to make sure that my cut is parallel to the jaws. And that way everything will be lined up good. Now these don't fit very tightly, so you can see there's some movement there. But I'm going to actually glue all this stuff into place. I don't want the barrels pivoting. They really can't pivot with the blast bags, so it's not really a problem. What I need to do, first thing I need to do is get rid of my glasses. I'm using these cutters. Now, I won't use my good set. These are really delicate, and I imagine you probably snap the jaws doing this kind of stuff. This plastic is pretty hard, really. So what I want to do is I want to go through here and just take these off and leave just a tiny little bit. Okay. And where's my track? There it is. Okay. So we can't go back now. Well, I guess we could glue it back on. That kind of moved on me a little bit. I need to straighten it back up. Get it back where I want it. Yeah, it moved quite a bit. So we'll need to trim it a little more. Get this nice and tight. We'll trim it some more here. Okay. Now, of course, with these cutters, you don't get a real even cut. What I'll do is I'll take a file and I'll file all this until I can get these nice and flat. So this is going to be kind of little bit of a slow process. And if I can find my flat file here, there we go. What I need to do is keep the file flat with the, let me move this stuff back, even, parallel to the vise, and then just start filing until I'm happy that everything is nice and even. That way, when we glue everything in, the jaws or the barrels will all be parallel and the same length. So I'm going to go ahead and shut the camera off here for a minute because this is going to take a couple of minutes. And as soon as I'm happy with all this stuff, I'll come back. Maybe I'll turn the AC on for a few minutes, and I'll show you what we've got. Okay? Be right back. Okay, guys. I've got everything filed to where if I set the file across it, it's parallel with the jaws, which means my cut should all be square and all the barrels should come out the same length. The next thing I have to do is I need to put holes in all three of these. Let me bring this light or this camera down just a little bit. Maybe you can see it a little bit better. I need to put holes in all three of these to accept the little pin at the back end of these. Anyway, not the best of cameras, but anyway, that's what we need to do. We need to go ahead and put holes in these, and these are 1 millimeter holes. I've already got a drill set up here. I'm good to go. First, we need to put in a bit of a starter. So, what I do is I just go through and try and get it exactly centered and give it a little twist. And the next one. And the last one. Okay. And then we just try and keep the drill as straight up and down as we can. And if you started your hole just slightly crooked, you can angle the bit just a little bit to get the hole, just keep checking to make sure it's as centered as you can get it. Just go a little bit and check. Make sure that the hole's deep enough to accept the little tab on the end of the bit. I've noticed the tab on some of these barrels are a little longer than others, or a little wider than others. Same size hole, some fit real tight, some not so tight. It looks like the center one I need to go just a little bit deeper. Okay, that should do it. So let's go ahead and glue these in. I'm using it's Bob Smith Industries, but it's the gap filling 5 to 10 second glue. Yeah, I really like this because it gives you just a little bit of working time. I've also got their Instaflex, which is a real thin. This is like water, and it sets up immediately. Then I've got some of their Uncure also. You got to be real careful with this. It will take the glue off, but it will also mar your plastic. So you got to be real sparing with that. So let's put a little in my little container here. And I've already cleaned these really good with alcohol. I don't want to have anything contaminating the joint. And then I usually what I've been doing is set the center one in first and hold it for a second. This will set up pretty fast. And then I've got I'm not sure where my square is. Hang on. Should have had that at the ready. There we go. Just make sure it's square. Needs to go over just a tiny bit. It gives you just a little bit of working time. That looks really good. Okay, so we've got our first one in. On the camera, it may look like it's at an angle, but the square says it looks really good. So let's go ahead and do the other two, and then we'll try and make sure that everything's spaced real good from the first one. Okay. This one's not setting quite all the way down. And we'll check it one more time. Look real good. Okay, it's going to take just a little bit for that to set up well enough that I feel comfortable handling it, but I'll show you what it looks like once it's in. In the meantime, we'll go to our turret. This part needs to go right here on the front. Now, in order for the barrels to fit really well, I've noticed that this plastic is kind of in the way here. So I'm going to take my nippers and I'm going to just remove this enough to leave just an edge for gluing. Again, using my old nippers. I don't want to ruin my good nippers. Okay, and then there's going to be a bit of a place in there where I really can't get to. I'm going to have to file that out. So let me, I'm going to get the AC back on. Let me shut the camera off and I'll clean this up and I'll be right back. Okay. Here's what I've done with the turret. I've removed all that middle section in there. The next thing we need to do is to glue this on. I've cleaned this and I've cleaned that with alcohol. I want to make sure it's all nice and clean. So let's go ahead and get a little more of my medium gap filling CA. I really like this stuff. And I've been using a toothpick for this. It seems to work really well. You'll get a little on this edge. Doesn't take very much, but it gives you that slower spinning, gives you just a little bit of working time. Okay, let's set this guy on here. I could pick it up, and no, I can't. Go to the edge. Okay, well, that's okay. The quick setting CA, if you just did that, it would be done. This gives you a little bit of time to move it around. The way the instructions are, it really doesn't say for sure, but there's a little, this is a little bit longer, so there's a little bit of a lip right here. I've been making it even with the bottom, and there's another piece of photo etch that goes right up here, which I think will even, that's what I did on the other ones, evens them out real good. So that's on. I'm going to give that a couple of seconds to grab real good. I'll put the barrels through there just to show you what they look like. So let's go ahead and take that out of the, I'm already getting hot. Just a few minutes with the AC off. Okay, there's our barrels. And like I said, the pivot points are a little loose, so the barrels can move around a little bit. But let's go ahead and put this through, and I'll show you what it'll look like. And it's almost there. There we go. See, they're kind of spread out a little bit, but you can, before I glue them in place, I'll do a little bit of adjusting to where everything's spaced really nice. They're pretty easy to adjust still, but I'll have them all nice and even before I put any glue on the inside. But they are the same length, and that's what's important. Okay, so what I want to do next, I almost didn't do these, but there's 3 little pieces of photo etch that go right on here, and they are just some details. And I went ahead and put them on, and I'm glad I did, because you can kind of see them under the milliput that I used to make up the blast bags. I don't know if you guys can even see them. Let's see, for perspective, as Ron says, for perspective, if you can see it. I don't even know if you can or not. But that's all the bigger those are. What I've been doing is, let me see, I've got a little bit of a fingerprint on here. I want to make sure this is nice and clean. Might want to scrape it just a tiny bit. There we go. What I've been doing is I've been taking just a little bit of tape. I put one piece on, put some tape on it, and then I run some CA around the lower part. And then once that's set up, then I take the tape off and do the upper part. So let's see what we can do here. I have my wax pencil here. And I'm not sure. I can't see the computer screen at the same time. But, well, I guess you could kind of see it. So we'll get that approximately where we want it, and we'll get some tape on it, and then we'll do some final adjustments. That just gives you a little bit of detail when the when it's all painted up. Okay, let's put a little tape on it. and it'll move. Yep, it moved. Adjust it again. Okay, see that's, I don't know if you guys can see any of that or not, but that looks pretty good. Okay, and then we'll see how my CA's doing here. It's still got some working time. So I'll just go back from the inside and we'll just touch it. And that'll get it where it needs to be. Okay, it doesn't mess up the outside. This is going to get really messy with the milli put anyway. But anyway, just going around the inside. Okay, now I'll leave that for a few seconds, then I'll come back and I'll peel the tape, and then I'll go up to the top, and then we'll put the other two on. Be right back. I got to turn the air back on. Thanks, guys. I moved the camera this way just a little bit. I noticed in that last scene that I was off camera a little bit. So hopefully this will work out better. And this has had some time to sit now, so we can go ahead and pull this off. This is just Tamiya tape. And then we'll go ahead and go around. If my glue's still a little liquid, which it appears to be, we'll just kind of touch it around the top. And that should have that taken care of. So I've got two more of these to put on. Give that just a second here. And we'll grab the wax pencil. Get it about where it needs to be. This will show up just a little bit after I make the blast bags. Just a little bit of detail. Okay. So that'll get the next one. We'll do the bottom. Just go around and kind of catch that edge. Okay. What I'll go ahead and do is I'll go ahead and shut the camera down, and I'll go ahead and get the other one on and glue the top of this one. And then we'll come back and we'll put this little bar across the top here. And then we'll fit the barrels and see how that all looks. Okay. Be back in a few. Okay. Let's see. Got that cup empty. I've got all three of the little detailed parts on. You probably can't really see them, but they're there. Next step will be to put the barrels in, and I'll show you what that looks like. And there is a little, this doesn't have a bottom on it, you know, where it's smooth on the bottom. It just has a little piece here that goes over to kind of hold everything in place. Okay, just kind of like that. Now these are real floppy, you know, they're not gonna stay where you want them unless you glue them in. And I'm gonna do the blast bags anyway, so they're gonna be pretty much where they're gonna be. But they all, I think that looks pretty good. I want them to be slightly elevated, you know, when I display them on the model, not way up at the top, but just slightly elevated. And I'll probably compare it to the ones I've already done just to get them kind of even. So let's go ahead and get some glue on this. I'll use the regular extra thin, and that will give me some working time, so where I can adjust things and get them lose the glasses again, get them kind of positioned where I want them. We'll give this just a minute. You can see they're kind of splayed out a little bit, but the fit is not real good. So I'll try and adjust them to where they look good. Just give it a minute. Let the glue start to firm up. See, it still just takes a second. The Ron I referred to earlier when I was talking about perspective is Mr. One and only Ron Calverley. If you guys haven't seen his channel, you need to go take a look. I watch him every single day. Great guy. He builds the 1-200 scale ships. That he does pretty much everything on his channel. I really enjoy watching him. I'll put a link to his channel below, like he needs it. He's got a really big channel, and but he's so much fun to watch. If you're not watching Ron, you know, if you're building ships or pretty much anything, you're kind of missing out. He's up in Winnipeg, I believe, Canada. Okay. Just trying to make sure everything is even and straight. Trying to, let's see here. Do I have a little, this will work. Something straight I can go across with. Just to get them kind of in line. And one on the end still wants to drop on me. Let me put a little more glue on it. Ron's got over 2,000 videos on his channel. He's been doing it for years. And he posts a video every single day. I don't remember the last time if he's ever missed one. I've really enjoyed watching him. There's a lot of guys I really enjoy watching. Too bad that I can't watch them all. There's just not enough physical time in the day to watch everybody I'd like to watch. Okay, I'm happy with that. Now this is going to take just a little while, and I'll give it some time, and then we'll start working on getting those blast bags put together. I'm not sure just how this is going to work on camera. I've used Milliput 2 or 3 times. It takes quite a while for it to actually set up. I got a sticker on there. Well, it doesn't matter. Anyway, Milliput Superfine White is what I'm using. But it's a 2-part epoxy, and you just cut off a little pea-sized bit of both parts and knead them together, and they start hardening up. And you've got probably close to an hour working time with them, and then if you don't get it done in time, you end up with this. And it's you can drill it, you can sand it, you can paint it. It sticks real good. It's great stuff. You can thin it with water. And I heard somebody online the other day saying they can thin it with alcohol and actually turn it into kind of a paste, kind of a filler. And what's nice is it doesn't shrink back. I haven't tried making a paste out of it yet, but I might one of these days. And give that a try for filling gaps and things. All right, I'm going to just let this sit for a little while, and I want to make sure that's good and firm before I start shoving Milliput and stuff in around those things. So I'll be back. I think it's looking pretty good. See you in a bit. Gotta turn the AC back on. This is the next morning. I just couldn't take the heat anymore. yesterday. It's only 65 out now, so it's pretty nice. Let's see if we can't get some blast bags made up. I have not used milliput a lot. You know, I've used it some, but I'll show you what I do. First thing I do is I get like a plastic bag or something to work on because this stuff is sticky and I don't like using it right on my cutting mat. Okay, it comes in two parts that we need to mix. And this stuff is sticky, but it does come off real easy until it dries. A little water or even some isopropyl alcohol does a really nice job. We don't need much. We only got 3 little bags to do. The important thing is to try and get about the same amount of each. Make sure we seal this all up nice and tight so that we don't end up with it drying out on us. They make several grades of this. This is the super fine. Okay, let's see here. It looks pretty close. Let's go ahead and. I know the reflection off the bag is kind of hard to see. Okay, there's our 2 components. Let's go ahead and just mix it up here. You got to make sure you mix it real thoroughly. So we'll do that. And it does come off on your hands just a little bit, but like I say, water will take it off real quick. This is just a little bit of tap water I've got here. And you can dip your tools in it so that the milliput doesn't stick to your tools. But it definitely will stick to plastic and photo etch. Okay, that should be mixed pretty good. And this will, we can probably work with this for a good hour. Okay, let me clean my hands off just a little bit here. I don't want to get milliput everywhere. A little isopropyl on a rag or on a paper towel, and it comes right off. Okay. Now you can use a toothpick, which works just fine. I've got some, these are wax carving tools. I have a whole set of them here. I don't even know where I got them, probably Amazon. But there's all kinds of shapes there, and you can use those for doing some sculpting with. But I used these, just a couple of these, when I did the last ones. So get rid of the glasses again here so I can get up close. What I did with the first ones I did, just take a little bit off with your toothpick or whatever tool you choose to use and start packing it on the inside. Okay. It is really, really sticky. This gives some backing, so that the stuff, when you do the front side, it doesn't just fall through. You can thin this too. It's pretty thick, but you can add a little isopropyl or a little water to it and make it a little softer mixed where it's a little easier to work with. Okay, that's pretty well got the backside packed, and a little bit of it's coming through, which is what I expected. Okay, we'll just start working it in. It's not anything really difficult. I'm not an artist by any means. You might take a look at a blast bag and kind of familiarize yourself with what they look like. but I didn't get my toothpick wet, so it's starting to stick to it. And just start working it in there until you're happy with it. You got plenty of working time. This will set up like a rock, but it's going to take a good couple of hours. There's that little photo etch on there that I put on earlier, and I kind of want to be able to see that and kind of define the edge of the bags. So I'll try real hard to kind of keep that visible. It's real easy to take like an old junk paintbrush or something and go along and kind of wash it down a little bit. Okay. Let's see here. It's just a matter of getting it to where you're happy with it. That's what counts. I think anything that kind of represents blast bags is going to be fine. It's a lot better than just having a big hole there where the barrels come through. But you get the idea. Just keep working it in and getting the shape refined to where you're happy with it. And you can sand this later. So if you put it on and you think later, no, that's not quite the shape I wanted, a little work with some fine sandpaper or even a fine file, and you'll be able to kind of refine the shape just a little bit. Get a little more there. I mixed up way more than I needed, but that's okay. It'll be like a rock in a couple of hours and then just throw it away. Just keep working at it until you're happy with the shape. I can use these to kind of smooth it a little bit, kind of bring the profiles in where I like it. Let's see here. I'm definitely not an artist, but kind of get it to where it's pretty much uniform. Get the shape down. Try and make them look like blast bags a little bit. Blast bags tend to be kind of, they don't really have a structure to them. So when you're working with this stuff, it's kind of like just a sheet. It lays on the top of the barrel, but then it kind of billows out underneath it. You can pick up just a little bit more. And I'll just prime these the same as I do everything else. Then I'll come back with a brush. The ones on the Arizona are kind of an ivory or an off-white. They're not a stark bright white. Let's just take a brush here. This is just an old junk brush, and go through and kind of clean up the edges. And get rid of the stuff that we don't want. Just a matter of playing with it till you're happy with it. I'll probably fast forward this because it is a little on the boring side. But just, when you're happy with it, stop. Okay, take a little bit of a paper towel here, go around the edges. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and shut the camera off here. I may refine this just a little bit, just a matter of playing with it, but I know it's not really exciting. I don't know if you can see that or not, but they're getting there. Pretty easy to do. And I'll get these set up good, and then we have a ladder to put on and some more etch back here on the back end of the turret. And that'll basically finish it. So I'll be back in a little while. Okay. It's been a couple hours, I think, since maybe an hour since we did this. This is pretty darn hard now. It's ever so barely still pliable, but that we can just throw away. And then we'll go ahead and put a little photo etch on here. I've got a ladder to put on this side. According to the directions, all the ladders were on the port side or the left side. And then we've got a couple little pieces of photo etch to put on I think they're range finders, and a couple more little pieces down here. And then this will be done. So let's go ahead and get that photo etch on. And I'm going to use the gap filling medium again. Put a little on here. Okay. And let's see. I didn't put the part. Well, there is one more little piece of photo etch to go across the top. When the brass on the front was put on, it's put on flush on the bottom, but it's a little high, and there's a piece of brass that goes across here that we need to put on. So there it is right there. I know it's pretty hard to see. We'll, let's see, get a toothpick going here. What I've been doing is I'll put a little bit of glue right in the center to just tack it in place. And then set it on there and make sure it's centered. This gives us just a little bit of time to, I know you can't see it with my fingers in the way. It gives us just a little bit of time to adjust it. Okay, hold that for a second. I just put a tiny little bit of glue on there. Maybe I didn't put enough. Yeah, it's not wanting to stick. Let's go with just a little bit more. Okay. Make sure it's centered. Then once we get the center to hold, I'll go ahead and tack the two edges, and then that should pretty well have it. Okay, and a little bit under the side. You probably ought to use the end of the toothpick so I don't glue my fingers to it. Okay, and then the other side. There, that's good. And we'll go ahead and put our brass pieces on the lower side here. This is really simple. My tweezers. Put a little CA right here. These are, I already bent them. Just to one simple little bend. Okay. And then the same thing on the other side. Come on, get it out of there. Okay. That's good there. Then we've got two little pieces to put here and on the other side. And let's see, that's all been taken care of. Here they are. They actually give you two extra of these just in case. So I got these here. And they're pretty tiny for perspective. That's what we're working with there. Okay, and we'll get a little CA on here. Oh, we want to use extra thin. These I can probably do with my fingers. See, that's why they give you extra. I didn't lose it. Okay, square it up there. Okay, there's one. Oop. Come on, where I do it to my finger. There we go. That one I may need to put just a touch more glue on. Okay, that's got that one. Now a ladder. Now this ladder needs to be bent. Let me see. I don't remember if I bent it. No, I haven't bent it yet. So let's go ahead and bend it. Bend it. We just need to bend both ends a little bit. And I'll use my small Tamiya bending pliers. We just need to bend it at like the very last rung, just so it stands off just a little bit from the turret, like so. Something on there. This is very, very fragile. And like so. Okay. So we'll get, let's see, I got to make sure, this will be on the left side, so it'll go over here. This will be the B turret.
So I'm going to put just a little bit of glue where I want it, right about there. Set it on there. Whoop. To turn around. And just a tiny touch of glue on the bottom. Okay, that should be good. There's another turret done. Okay, the way these are lined up on the ship, the instructions weren't real clear. There's two turrets that have this on top, and it doesn't really tell you which is which. So I went ahead and put this one as the A, this is the B, and then the C turret will have the catapult on top, and the D turret will be the back one here. Now they did give us some really tiny rails. I'm sure you can't see them. The instructions don't really tell you clearly. They tell you to put two on each side of these, but I think it's just the front one and the back one. So that's what I've done. So I've used all those rails. So these two don't have any rails on top. Later on, we'll be doing a catapult on that one, but that's way down the instructions. Okay, guys. Next thing we'll start taking some of the parts off the deck that don't belong there and making sure that the deck fits good. And we'll start building up the center island or the midships and getting that brass all on there. So I appreciate you guys watching, and there'll be more coming. So have a great day. Okay, bye-bye.